This is a podcast or something like that. Hello. Oh, I hit my chair at the same time as I started saying hello. Hello, and welcome to Verbal Journal, the podcast. Verbal Journal, the podcast, episode 37. Hello and welcome, episode 37. I hope you're having a fantastic day, morning, evening, night, afternoon, later time. It's the morning over here. It is the crack of dawn. What is it? 10:46 a.m. Crack of dawn over here. And I just figured I'd wake up before the roosters and the cows and the morning cows. And I just thought I would do a little podcast. Now, what does that mean? What does that mean from your perspective? Basically, what that means is you're gonna sit here. Presumably, you've already pushed play. That was a good alliteration sentence. Presumably, you've already pushed play. Good thing I have a sound. What's this called? The screen. A wind screen. A wind catcher screen. So presumably, you've already pushed play, and right now you're gonna sit, continue to listen. Basically, I'm gonna continue to talk. If you're listening on YouTube, thank you for doing that. If you're listening on Patreon, that's perfectly fine too. Both are good. There's no one that's better than the other. Patreon, by the way, speaking of Patreons in the news, let's talk about Patreon a little bit. Patreon's updated their vibe. They look different and everyone is enjoying it. I've seen a lot of super positive feedback. People are saying, wow, love the design change, Patreon. I haven't fully investigated it. In fact, I haven't fully really looked into it. But the design is interesting. The new logo's obviously weird. And I guess people are saying they're calling them members instead of patrons for now. I don't personally have a problem with that. I mean, I get if it's bad brand recognition. I get if people are saying it's bad brand recognition. I don't know that I fully agree. I think it's probably not a big deal. And it does feel more normal to call people members rather than patrons. I mean, if you want to be a patron, you can donate at the high. Like, what is my highest one? $50 a month, which one person does. Died Famous, I believe. Thank you so much, Died Famous. You can stop at any time. I've been meaning to say that you can stop at any time. But yeah, I mean, if at that point, if you're giving like substantial chunks of money, patron feels like a legitimate word. But yeah, member is like kind of, oh, okay, here it says the patrons tab is now called audience. Now you can see details on your whole community, including paid members, free members, and shop customers. Learn more. No, I don't want to learn more. So yeah, just a very interesting look. I mean, Patreon's had issues. I think I talked about them last week or the week before. Like, they did actually fix the one I talked about. Well, they sort of did. Like, audio previews when you're not subscribed to a Patreon were playing at absurdly low quality. It sounded like it was on like a 1920s like radio, and or like worse. And they did fix that, but they still, as far as I was aware, the previews for like a podcast, for instance, if you're not subscribed to the Patreon, as far as I'm aware, it says it's only 5 minutes long because the preview's only 5 minutes long, and I guess I think like, well, would that be confusing to someone if they don't listen to it? They think it's only a 5-minute podcast. I don't know. That's probably not an important thing for us to worry about. Point is, I didn't have a point, actually. There was no point with any of that. Patreon's new, and they changed it up. And I mean, they just have like tech. Oh yeah, I guess my point was like Patreon's have like weird tech issues, and some of them seem like they're fixed. So if that stuff is fixed, I don't care if they call people members. But that's why I always make this available on YouTube. Actually, that's also for YouTube members. Speaking of members, I make the podcast available on YouTube. So if you're a Patreon subscriber, you can listen on YouTube, and that's so people who are YouTube members have a way to listen. It's kind of really inconvenient to find another way to do that without making it publicly available and then taking away the coolness of it, Okay, so what else is going on? So I don't have a ton on the agenda today, if I'm being totally honest. Let's check the mailbag, see if anyone wrote into the mailbag. That's Verbal Journal mail. Verbal Journal. What is the verbaljournalpodcast@gmail.com. Okay, no one wrote in. Perfect. That's perfect. That is perfect. Okay, so I'm going to keep talking about what I've been talking about. So I've been talking about artist biographies, and I've been reading a lot of artist biographies because I've been doing a lot of art and really enjoying. I've always enjoyed reading about the lives of artists. When I was younger, I used to, have some favorite artists. I'd read a lot about Salvador Dali. I'm wearing a Salvador Dali shirt as we speak right now. And some other artists too. And lately, in the last few months, if you've been listening to the podcast, I've been delving into different artist biographies. I read Robert Rauschenberg biography. I read a bit of a Paul Klee biography. I read a whole Max Ernst biography. I read a little bit of a Eva Tanguy biography. I read Gertrude Stein's interesting treatise on Picasso that was I feel like not translated well and didn't do her justice at all, but still interesting. And now I'm reading, as I mentioned last week, a book on Marcel Duchamp, and it is extremely good. I've been just pouring through it. I'm almost 300 pages in, and it's like a 500-page book or something. Wait, I have it right here. Hold on. It's by Calvin Tompkins. Oh yeah, 500. 500 pages actually. Oh, it's almost exactly 500 pages. Wow. Wow. Oh, there's a whole thing of notes in the back with quotes. Oh, interesting, from other people about him and stuff. Marcel Duchamp is a really, really interesting guy. Yeah. 1 second. So, if you don't know him, he's the guy who submitted a urinal to a museum and signed it, R. Mutt. It's a famous thing. He did that in 1917 or something. He also did the Mona Lisa with the mustache. I talked about that in the video, Mona Lisa with the mustache and goatee. And what's interesting, which I didn't mention last time, one of the interesting things I got from reading this book so far was I didn't realize he was a profoundly talented Cubist painter. I don't think I had ever seen his paintings, honestly. If you look up Marcel Duchamp, his Cubist paintings usually aren't the first thing you see. You see, his ready-mades. But he literally was, an extremely accomplished Cubist painter. I don't even think he did more than 10 of them. Wow. Yeah, if you type in Marcel Duchamp and then you go to images, okay, here's actually, one of the nude descending a staircase was this famous one. Apparently that title alone was very interesting, because nudes wouldn't normally descend a staircase. That's a legitimate thing, and I had never thought about that. But I guess it was transgressive even just to, the title is funny because you look at it and it's not, it doesn't, it's Cubist, so it's funny to give it such a realistic thing. But it's also apparently just transgressive to title something nude descending a staircase, because nudes don't normally descend a staircase. So yeah, you can look up that painting. I mean, you'll look at it and you'll be like, oh yeah, this is accomplished cubism. So yeah, he really just didn't want to keep painting, and he stopped painting very early in his life. I think he said he didn't get pleasure from it. He worked for almost a decade, I want to say. It might have been 1915 to 1923 or something, or maybe it was more than a decade. But he worked on this piece on a large glass. It was called The Large Glass. It also had this long name, the bride being stripped nude by her bachelors, even, or something. He's an interesting guy, sort of not an artist in the sense he really rejected art in the sense he didn't want to be doing art. And it's interesting because I probably talked about Andy Warhol a little bit because I was in the Robert Rauschenberg book. There was a lot of stuff about Andy Warhol, and it sort of made me dislike him more than I already did, because he just seemed like kind of a toxic guy. But I don't know, maybe he wasn't that bad. But he didn't consider himself an artist, and it's tempting for me to be like, fuck him. Like, why is he like one of the most famous artists? He's a promoter. But at the end of the day, that's obviously part of the art, and these people, I don't know if I really. Like, I don't know how you take it literally, but it is literal. It feels more literal for Marcel Duchamp and less of like a shtick, because he was, I don't know, well, I think Andy Warhol did like legit paintings at some point. Did he? Andy Warhol paintings. He must have done like some legitimate yeah, he did like legitimate. I don't know. I don't have time to try to figure out which of these are painting and which of these are screen print. One of his like employees did, and he signed. I have no idea. But Marcel Duchamp, like he would like make some like he made like these optical devices a few times in his career. Like it would like a little engine would spin like a circular thing, and then you'd see like a design almost, or you'd see a design in the, in the visual effect of that. And, I don't know if sold it to someone, or he got some amount of money for it. And then he was like, or it was part of an exchange. Like he just got paid for, he just got paid for the material, and he didn't get paid for the piece as a piece of art or his labor for it. And cause he didn't want to. And then, it was, he was like, went out of his way to be like, this is not a piece of art. Please don't exhibit it. And he didn't want his stuff to be exhibited. I don't know. I mean, it's hard for me to have any real respect for it. It feels like he was a bit extreme. The fuck is that noise? I understand wanting to have your like sort of art, your stuff be consumed in a specific way, but I don't know. It seemed, I just don't get the sense that it was necessarily like a fulfilling thing. There's this one quote in the book where Marcel moves from, I think, Paris to New York initially, in like 1913 or something, maybe, or 15. And he says, I'm not going to New York, I'm leaving Paris. The idea that like it's not something drawing me here, which he did end up loving New York a lot. But he's like, that idea of like, I'm being pushed away from something more than drawn towards something, which is definitely understandable. And I've felt that way before in making a move in my life or this or that. But it does feel like that's kind of what was underneath a lot of stuff for him. Like did he want to, did he really want to like not have any of his stuff be considered art, or was he like just afraid of it? I don't know. Like, was it a positive motivation or a fear? I mean, I don't know. It's just, yeah. I mean, so the interesting thing about him too, and I think I'm going to do a live stream soon on Twitch and watch a lot of this stuff, because I've been meaning to do a live stream, and this would be a good topic. He became a avid chess player, Marcel Duchamp, and played chess for many hours every day, and played in like kind of top level tournaments. He never became like a country champion or something, like a French champion, but he did play in top tournaments. He did play in some matches against like Capablanca or Alekhine. I don't know how you pronounce Alekhine. It was mostly, I think, in simultaneous tournaments. He might have had some one-off games against someone at that tier, but I mean, that's the highest tier. Those were world champions, but he played against a lot of top level people, and he definitely could hold his own. But I don't know. So, and then there's this one thing I was just reading last night at like 4 a.m. Like, there's this weird fucking era in his life, like around when he's 40, era for like less than a year, I think, where he marries this woman who he like had no affection for. Like, he literally had no affection for, like he was married to this person. Here, let's see how long exactly they were married. Spouse. Yeah, Lydie Sarrazin Levasseur. They were married from 1927 to 1928. And like he just had no feelings for her and like didn't seem like the type of person to want to get married. Like he was like obsessed with his independence. He was like obsessed with like having nothing impinge on his independence, where he would like apparently have a lot of sex and a lot of like relationships, but but he, you know, he would make sure that no one would, you know, like impinge on his freedom to, you know, play chess and stuff. So like kind of, you know, kind of an interesting guy. I don't know what was going on with him. But this marriage was not a good call. It was not a good call. And I will say, this biography, I mean, Calvin Tompkins, unbelievable. I want to share the quote I mentioned last week that someone on the back of this book says about Calvin Tompkins, because it's so well put. To say that Calvin Tompkins is the most enjoyable writer on art alive might be to award him first place in a field of one. He is probably the only art writer around today whose work can be read for sheer enjoyment and not just because it's, quote, good for you. To say that Mr. Tompkins is one of the most entertaining writers on any subject would be nearer the point. Yeah, it's I really cannot stress enough how good this writer is. But he's an amazing biographer. It's not just he's a good writer, he's a good biographer. He understands a human life. He understands what's interesting about a human life, what we want to know. And he's not sanctifying the subject. There was maybe a point in the Robert Rauschenberg book I felt like he was kind of uncritical. But in this, it's very clear he's not, like, he criticizes people who, as he puts it, like, worship at the altar of Saint Marcel. Like, he says at one point, like, this marriage that Marcel had. So look, it's not like a innocuous, innocent thing. Like, he married this woman, like after knowing her a very short amount of time, and like, I mean, I think she really like she fell for him, and like he was not forthright. Like, he was not straightforward about what you don't like. That's a lie. Like, at the end of the day, divorce happens. But if you marry someone that you have no feelings for and upend their life as you know, it's an enormous process, especially back then in 1926 to get married. It's like he fucking signed a contract with her parents in the room and shit. There's like I don't know if it's a dowry or all that. Anyways, he married her for money. That's what the biographer says. He's like, that's the best explanation, is that he married for money. She wasn't like insanely rich, but she had money. Her family had money, and he wanted like a stable life. He basically was, I think, he wanted a change, and he like used her. He didn't think about how it would affect her. He doesn't seem like he had, like, his ethical sense was not what it should have been, I guess. It's a similar criticism to what I was talking about with Max Ernst, except in that case there was like a different type of power dynamic. Here there's a power dynamic because like he didn't have feelings for her, so he just left after like a year or less, and she just was like, "What the hell just happened?" I don't even like, and yeah, it's wild. It's really wild. So not a good call from Marcel Duchamp. But yeah, this writer, Calvin Tompkins, says that these other biographies of Marcel Duchamp like give a paragraph to his marriage to this woman or a sentence to his marriage to this woman, because people who love Marcel Duchamp don't want to think about it. Oh yeah, why did he marry someone and then break it off after like less than a year when he literally, like, it's one thing if you love someone and you realize it doesn't work out. He did not have any feelings for this person in any way. He was like, she's nice. Really, I mean, it seems like a midlife crisis type of thing, but it's also like, it's a little bit of an indictment on his judgment. No doubt. I mean, maybe you should have kept painting and you would have had less time to like make bad decisions. So yeah, I'm thrilled to have a nice, amazing book to read. I've been enjoying the heck out of that one. Let me just tell you, the heck is being enjoyed out of that book. All right. What else have I been up to? I've been doing some painting, of course. I've been working a little bit, doing the therapy, hanging out with friends, chilling. I had some friends over the other night. It was super dope. We were just chatting up a storm. Played some games with friends the other night. Code names, if you know that game, sort of like you have to like guess. You have to like give categories to make the other person guess your words, but not have the other team guess. Or they can't guess the words of the other team, and then if they, you know, it was a fun game. So, wait, one of these books about Lydia or Liddy, not Lydia. What's her fucking name? Liddy Fisher Sarrazin Levasseur. There's this French paperback about his marriage with her. Or no, it's about... Oh, it's her book. Okay, yeah. It's her book telling the story of their time together. And it has no customer reviews on Amazon. And it's called A Marriage in Check. The heart of the bride stripped bare by her bachelor, even, because that was the name of his famous piece, like the bride stripped bare by her bachelors, even. So her book, did she call it that, or did someone else call it that? I have a very hard time believing she called it that. I don't mean that in an insulting way. I would be really surprised, because that seemed like, is that what she actually, maybe that is what she called it. It just seems like clever in a way like that, like she didn't seem like to connect with his art, or like, I'm not saying she didn't care about his art. Like it seemed like it would be surprised. No, okay. She did call it that. Oh, okay. Wow. Cool. Okay. So maybe she was like more sophisticated than I thought. And I'm not trying to insult her. Like, when I say sophisticated, I just mean like interested in the same types of things as Marcel Duchamp. But okay, maybe she was interested in, because that seemed like one of the weird things. It's like, does she even like know he's an artist? Like what, the way it was being described, it's like, it seemed like he just found this random fucking, like literally, they got married because her dad, wait, what was it exactly? So her dad like had a mistress and wanted to, oh my God. It was either like, no, what was it? He was like, he basically, he needed her to get married so he could, oh, okay, here it is. Hold on. Yeah. Okay, her dad wanted to divorce his wife so he could marry an opera singer, and the wife, who maybe was trying to delay the divorce, said that they couldn't get divorced until the daughter gets married off. The daughter was 24, Liddy. So that's why. And then they had a, and then they like through a mutual friend, through the Picabia, Francis Picabia, famous artist too. So through him and his wife or mistress or partner or whatever, they connected Marcel and this 24-year-old woman. Marcel was much older. Marcel Duchamp was born in 1887, so he was 40. He was 40 years old, marrying a 24-year-old woman so that her dad could get divorced. And he didn't think that was going to end up hurting feelings or confusing people. Like, just a bizarre thing to do. Okay. Anyways, what I was thinking about lately is like, why do I like biographies so much? What even is a biography, if you think about it? And what made me think about that question is like, I was thinking about the expression separating the art from the artist. And while I think that question is very confusing and sort of vague, and there's a lot that could be said about that. What does it mean? Why do we expect that that's possible? What does that mean? But what I thought is, a biography really does sort of do that. If anything does that, it's kind of what a biography is built to do. I mean, it doesn't just separate it; it also connects. But it's sort of like it delineates the person Well, I guess I'm talking about an artist biography in particular, but it like shows you about the person and describes the person in such immense detail that it's going to inherently shift how you perceive the art and just fill it in a lot of ways. And like a biography in general, it just is such an amazing thing because life is like this, just the most complicated, abstract thing. I don't know. I can't really like, I guess it's not the most abstract thing, but it's like the most practically important, like day to day, like like my life is just, I don't know, like what is more of like a central description of like the space I inhabit. I don't know. I guess what I'm trying to say, like, yeah, I don't know. It's just like an amazing challenge to turn a life and a lifetime into a coherent story. I do think it's very hard, and the reason I like this biographer is he does his fucking work. Not the reason I like him, but like part of what enables him to be such a good writer, who I like. He reads all these other things about his subject, so much that many people would never think to do or do if they did think of it, but they wouldn't even think of it. Oh, I'm going to read all these diaries from other people about their time with Marcel Duchamp. It's like, so, I mean, I know it's not a groundbreaking idea, but like it's so much work. And I don't know, a biography really makes you think about your own life. It makes you think about like how your own story would be told and the decisions you make and how you choose to spend your time. And reading these biographies has made me think about myself and my life and what I want. And, yeah, just like, has kind of motivated me to just do more things I want to do, hang out with friends, just kind of, I'm just reading about other people's lives. And I'm like, you got to make the most of this stuff, I guess. Okay. So next up, basketball season starting up. And while I'm not like a diehard basketball fan, what I am is an absolute hater of Kyrie Irving. So I love to watch him fail. So first game of the preseason in Abu Dhabi, actually. They like flying these people over to waste a bunch of money and energy to do a performance, do a game in another country. Mavericks played the Timberwolves, and Kyrie Irving played 14 minutes, shot 1 for 6, 0 for 2 from 3, and 2 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 points. Good job, Kyrie. It's okay. 1 for 6 is pretty good for you. So I don't like Kyrie Irving because he's an anti-Semite. I didn't think he at all made a genuine apology, and I don't believe that he's anything but an anti-Semite. And I think, yeah, I guess I don't separate the art from the artist as far as Kyrie Irving is concerned. There's more basketball on today. Wow, preseason's really starting up. Wow. Oh, wow. And baseball postseason just started yesterday, but there are games today. Wow, they make them do back-to-back in the first round here. Yeah, the Dodgers lost 11-2, and Clayton Kershaw had to get taken out after 1 out in the first inning yesterday. He gave up 6 runs and only got 1 out. Clayton Kershaw, future Hall of Famer. Pulled after 6-run first inning. Amazing. Okay. Yeah, my favorite teams. Wow. That might be the first sneeze on Verbal Journal. Write in. Let me know what you thought of the sneeze. Yeah, my favorite teams are like the worst ones, like the Dodgers and the Golden State Warriors. I just like the players, some of the players, and so yeah, what can I say? Okay, so yeah, that's the first installment in Kyrie Irving hating. And by the way, I will not mention when he does well. It's not like, I'm going to be giving you the Kyrie Irving update. No, we will only be talking about his embarrassing failures. Quick update on Magnus Carlsen. Does he keep calling himself the world chess champion in his social media bio, even though he is not the world chess champion, indisputably not. Yes, he does still call himself the world chess champion, okay? I'm going to keep giving you updates on that until he changes it. Good comment of the week. We haven't done this the last few weeks, but I'm going to share a nice comment I got on my YouTube channel. So someone commented on the Breaking Bad video, seeing Walter so deep fried, I will forever have the word sublimation engraved in my brain. So the first, I think it's the first sort of like freeze framed, like paused segment of the video. I believe it's about like 14 minutes. Oh no, it's about 30 minutes. No, it's sublimation, the first mention. Sublimation, because he's sublimate. What is the first? Man, God, it's been some months since this video. The first mention of sublimation is because he's sublimating his wait, what is the first? Okay, this is actually annoying me. What is the first mention of sublimation again? Okay, hold on. Is it 14 minutes in? Yeah, I was right. Oh, of course. The under the table action. Right.
In general, inherently do involve exchanges of power. Whether those...
Oh, okay. Thanks. Wait, here.
In general, inherently... When you look up the word in its psychological sense,
right,
you see an emphasis on...
Because, yeah, they're sublimating the guilt into horniness, right? So, yeah, that's funny that the person said I burned the word into their brain because I'm, like, doing this deep frying effect of Walter. And that's the first moment in the video where you do the deep fry effect. I mean, it's hard to think of what to do for those moments where I'm talking about something that there's no good clip to show. So I'm really happy with what I came up with the deep fry effect. And I very much, as I've talked about before, tried to make it psychedelic, but also like not too overwhelming. Certainly a lot of people are like, what the hell is going on in that segment? I'm literally tripping out. Why would you put that in the video? But yeah, in general, I don't I don't think I made it too, like, I know it's extremely psychedelic if you're not expecting it, but I tried to make it like easy on the eyes, I guess. Okay. Chess update for the week. I don't really have any. So consider that Magnus Carlsen thing a part of the chess update. Okay, and the screen time report. So I like to share my screen time report. So my weekly screen time report. You used your phone 14 minutes more than last what? Than last week? Okay. Oh, messages app, some YouTube app. The big day for using my phone was yesterday. Really? I don't even know what I was doing. Okay, not the most exciting segment of the year. Listen to the new 10 Tricks Point Never album. It's amazing if you like experimental electronic music. I also listened to he did like a sort of like director's commentary thing, listening to the album and talking about it. He was very casual about it. He barely talked about the album at all. He was mostly just reading things off of Instagram and playing things on Instagram, but it was still very funny and you got to know him very well. I do want to potentially do a director's commentary one day. I don't know. It feels a little unnecessary. And then like reading about Marcel Duchamp, who like wouldn't even talk about his art. Like, I'm like, really? Do I need to do that? It's probably not going to happen anytime soon. Like watch my whole Breaking Bad video and comment on it. It's probably not necessary. It's a little, yeah, it definitely am not leaning towards it, but I do like the idea on some level. It's just, there's got to be a way to do it that doesn't feel like a waste of time. Okay, well, this was great. I don't have anything else to talk about. I've had a great, I don't think I have anything else to talk about. If you look forward to this podcast and you've been disappointed with it, look forward to it less, I guess is my answer there. Or re-listen to the old episodes where maybe we had other stuff going on. Great to talk with you, and I'm going to have a great rest of the day. I'm going to hang out, maybe paint, do some other stuff. I hope you do as well. I hope you paint as well. And thanks so much for being a part of the Verbal Journal podcast today. and I will catch you on the flippity flop. Goodbye. This is a podcast or something like that.